كراما كاتبين يعلمون ما تفعلون إن الأبرار لفي نعيم وإن الفجار لفي جحيم. Before the lesson, remember, continuity and continuation is very important. You have to listen step by step. If you are a student of English language and literature, maybe you are a student of honors first year, second year, or third year, or final year. If you would like to learn something truly and really and heartily, then try to listen one after another. Go forward step by step. If you would like to learn, then try to maintain the serial of the lecture number. It's very important. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hope everyone well by the grace of Almighty Allah. We are learning literary terms or devices. And in our first lecture, I discussed about alliteration, anaphora, assonance, and consonance. But I did not give any example of consonance. So that's why in the beginning of this video, I would like to tell you about the example of and the use of consonance. We know that consonance is the repetition of consonant sounds, and there are 24 consonant sounds in phonetics. For example, Mike likes a bike, or they like a bike for Mike. In these two sentences, the first sentence, Mike likes the bike. The word Mike is a noun, a name of a person, Mike. And in this word, the consonant sound K, the sound of K is k, k. This is the consonant sound for K. Then like, k, k sound is repeated, and this is a consonant sound. Then bike, in this word bike, k sound is repeated. So the first word Mike, then the second word like, and the last word bike. In these three words, the same consonant sound has been repeated 3 times, and the consonant sound is k, k for K. And the second sentence, they like the bike for Mike. The same sound has been repeated, that is the sound of a consonant, that is k, k. Now let's talk about simile, metaphor, conceit, personification, and hyperbole. Very interesting: personification, hyperbole, simile, metaphor, and conceit. First of all, simile. Actually, simile refers to the similarity of something. Simile represents a comparison between two dissimilar things. Simile refers to a comparison between two dissimilar things by using as or like or as like. For example, you are like the moon. You are like the moon. So you are comparing someone with the strength of tiger. This is a comparison between a person and the animal tiger. Tiger means tiger represents, or tiger stands for strength and power, physical strength. And simile, actually, simile is the comparison of quality, not the objects, not the animal, but you are comparing someone by the physical strength and physical power of the lion by using as or like. Okay, so you are as beautiful as the moon. So the beauty of moon is compared with someone. So this is the comparison between two dissimilar things, and this comparison is called direct comparison. That means directly you are comparing by the quality of moon. Directly you are comparing by the quality of moon, not by the moon. Okay, and this direct comparison is also called explicit comparison between two dissimilar things by using as like, and this is called simile. The example is, you are like the moon, you are as beautiful as the moon. Rohim is like the lion. These are the examples of simile. Then metaphor. Metaphor is also a comparison between two dissimilar things. But in the case of metaphor, this is an indirect comparison. Indirect comparison or implicit comparison. That means directly you are not going to compare someone by the quality of something, but you are indirectly comparing with that thing. For example, you are lion. Not you are like a lion, but you are lion. You are a lion or you are a tiger. This is and directly addressed to the tiger, but you are not directly talking about the quality of the tiger, but you are indirectly comparing someone by the physical strength of the tiger. For example, you are my moon. You are my moon. Okay, so these are the examples of metaphor. And in order to understand or find out metaphor from a poem or from a text, you must understand the meaning. You must understand the meaning of the poem or the meaning of the writings. This is very important to find out the metaphor from a poem or any writing text. But in the case of simile, if you look at the poetic verses or poetic lines, then after looking or by the use of as like or like, you can easily find out simile. But in the case of metaphor, you must know the meaning of the poem or the meaning of the writing text. Maybe it's a drama or novel. Okay, so another example for metaphor is, morning is the sheet of a new paper. Morning is the sheet of a new paper. Or sometimes we blame someone, we rebuke someone. For example, hey pig, hey bitch, hey dog. That means indirectly you are addressing by the quality of the dog or of the swine or of the bitch to someone. Okay, but you could say that you are like a swine, you are like a pig, you are like a bitch. Then it would be the example of simile. But this is in the case of metaphor. You are a pig, or hey, you are a bitch, dog, swine. These are the examples of metaphor. So the difference between simile and metaphor is, simile is a direct comparison or explicit comparison by using as like or as like, and metaphor is an indirect or explicit comparison between two dissimilar things. Okay, this is called metaphor. In order to understand the metaphor or find out metaphor from a poetic verse or from any writing text, you must understand the meaning. Meaning is very important to find out metaphor. Okay, and remember, both simile and metaphor are figures of speech used in poetry. Then the next one is conceit. Conceit is very interesting, very witty, very logical, very argumentative. very intellectual comparison between two dissimilar things. This dissimilarity is an exceptional one. For example, this is very dissimilar. This is the beyond the limitation of metaphor, beyond the power of metaphor, beyond the thought of metaphor. Conceit is like metaphor, is like simile, but the comparison that is used in conceit, this is exceptional. This is very dissimilar, very dislike, far-fetched. Okay. For example, in the poems of John Donne, mainly in metaphysical poetry, conceit plays an important role in metaphysical poetry. You know that metaphysical poetry deals with love, soul, death, the relationship between human and God, and with the abstract things. By using conceit and hyperbole and argument, wit, logic, reason, these are the qualities of metaphysical poetry. And the most important quality of a metaphysical poem is the use of conceit. The use of conceit. Okay? So conceit is also an indirect comparison between two far-fetched or two very dissimilar things. And this is very rare. This is very rare in literature. But if you would like to find out conceit, or if you would like to learn the use of conceit in poetry, then you can read metaphysical poetry. For example, the poems of John Donne and Drew Marvell, they are metaphysical poets. Okay, so in honors first year, you will have a poem, The Good Morrow. In the poem, The Good Morrow, it's a metaphysical poem, and you will have the example of conceit in the metaphysical poem, The Good Morrow. Okay, so this is actually conceit. In metaphysical poetry, mainly which you will have in honors first year, the name of the poem is The Good Morrow. And in honors third year, you will have 3 poets and their 3 poetry books which are actually metaphysical poems. Okay, so in the case of honors first year, the metaphysical poem is The Good Morrow. In The Good Morrow, the poet has used a comparison between two lovers and the 2 hemispheres, between 2 lovers and the breastfeeding children. That means the poet wants to say that a person before fall in love, he is like the breastfeeding child or breastfeeding children. That means this is a comparison. The state of children and the person who is still single and bachelor does not fall in love or didn't fall in love. Okay, so such kind of rare and very dissimilar comparison between 2 things or 2 persons, this is actually called conceit. So conceit is also a comparison between 2 dissimilar things. This is an indirect comparison, like metaphor. Metaphor is also a comparison between 2 dissimilar things indirectly, but simile is a direct comparison between 2 dissimilar things by using like, as, or as like. So this is actually simile, metaphor, and conceit.